Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment to become present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position where you can sit with your spine, the back of your neck nice and tall, opening up your diaphragm, opening up your chest, and opening up your heart. Gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. And soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is joy. J-O-Y, joy. So some of us are starting to feel a little bit weary from winter. Maybe a little bit of cabin fever is setting in. But finding joy in the everyday aspects of life can make us feel lighter, more hopeful, and more happy. Finding joy is like being on a treasure hunt, with the clues coming from the heart, not from the mind, not from the head. If you use the prompt, I find joy in ... then look around, look into the treasure chest of your life and find what maybe seems ordinary and turn that into joy. For example, is that first cup of coffee that you have in the morning something you look forward to and savor every sip? Or is it just something that you do like a robot every morning? That's something that you can find joy in. That's the part of the treasure chest that is your life. So next time when you wake in the morning, set the intention to find joy in your life. Allow this joy to fill your heart, and from there, let it spread to your mind and to your body and to your soul. So this morning's meditation, I'm going to use one of these cards that I got in a deck called Live Your Yoga. And it's a deck of cards, and this one's play, and it's the smiling meditation. So physically smiling, even when it's fake, tells the brain to release happiness chemicals. This meditation that we're about to do encourages playfulness and joy by shining our smile throughout our body. So get yourself nice and comfortable. It says, come into an easy seat and close your eyes. Take a moment to center yourself. Take a deep breath, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Start to smile. Perhaps think of a happy moment as a way to encourage the smile. Notice how your face feels. Notice how your breath feels. When the smile, even a slight smile, starts to feel natural, hold it. Feel the warmth of the smile spread over your face until you feel your whole head is smiling. Slowly send the warmth of the smile throughout your body until your whole body is smiling. Feel the light, the warmth, the joy of the smile radiate from you in all directions. When you're ready, gently open your eyes and take your smile out into the world. So I'm going to go to the mat and clear off a few toys and one dog, and we'll start our yoga. Are you going to join us? Yeah. Alrighty. So a nice, comfortable seated position. We're going to start this morning with some shoulder shrugs. So gently just put your fingers on the side of the mat. And then inhaling, lifting your shoulders up toward your ears. And then exhaling, lowering them down toward the mat. And just continue making these nice, gentle circles. The idea is to just relax and loosen up your shoulders, loosen up any tension that might be in your upper back, your neck. Maybe smile while you're doing this. So you feel that smile radiate through your shoulders, on through your body. And then reverse the direction. Inhaling and exhaling. And then just relax your shoulders. We'll do our sun breaths, and I'm in a perfect spot for sun breaths. The sun is nice and warm, actually, compared to the 20 below that's outside. Inhaling, lifting our arms up over our head. Big inhale, and an exhale, lowering your hands back down toward the mat. Inhale, lift them up. If you're smiling there, bud, with your tail wagging, lowering your hands down toward the mat. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bring your hands back down. We get a few kisses on our way up and down. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, bring your hands back down. And then one last time, we'll lift up. When our hands are at the top, we're going to pivot our waist and turn our torso to the left side of the mat and bring our hands down. Right hand lands on the right knee. Left hand lands behind our hips. Our gaze is sent forward, straight ahead, finding the drishti just straight ahead of us. And then inhale, we're going to sweep our hands, both hands up, Twisting our torso over to the right side and bring our hands back down. Left hand lands on our right knee, right hand behind our hips. Good. Inhale, sweeping our hands up, and then twisting our torso over to the left, bringing our hands back down. And big inhale. We're just going to keep this nice rhythm of inhale and exhales as we twist from one side to the other. Inhale up and exhale down. Inhale up and exhale down. Inhale up and exhale down. And one last time, inhale up, and then bring your torso back to center and bring both arms back down. With your right leg placed in front of your left leg, and just if they're crossed, if you would kindly uncross them so that they're stacked side by side. We're just going to do a seated forward fold, and we're going to walk our hands out slowly, pivoting from the waist, and just find that sweet spot between effort and relaxation. And just keep going, monitoring your breath the whole time so you can find that sweet spot better. When your breath feels a little constricted, just back up a little bit till you find a nice even flow. And then walk our hands back. And then we'll walk our hands again, remembering where that sweet spot was. And we'll walk our hands over to the right side, just kind of crab crawl them over to the right. Till perhaps your torso's over your thigh, and then walk your hands back to an upright position. And then we'll switch legs. We'll walk our hands out straight ahead again. Finding that sweet spot, which might be different from the other side. Again, find your nice even flow breath. Might need to back up a little bit. And then walk your hands back up to seated. And then we'll walk our hands, trying to remember where that sweet spot was. And then walk our hands over to the left side. Just kind of crab crawl them over to the point where your torso might be over your thigh. And then walk our hands back to an upright position. And we're going to roll down. I'm going to remove my seat, remove wallet and sloth. You roll down either express method or knees bent or knees straight, one vertebrae at a time. And bring your knees to your chest and give them a nice gentle hug. And then rock your knees back and forth. Give your lower back a nice massage. And then we're going to send both legs down to the bottom of the mat. Come into reclined mountain pose. Our feet are flexed, toes are pointed up to the sky. Shoulder blades are nice and snug in the mat. Navel's tucked to the spine, lowering our lower back toward the mat. We're going to slide the sole of our right foot up our left leg, on the inner part of our left leg, to the point where it reaches the knee and your legs form a figure 4. And then we'll place that right ankle on top of the left knee, well, just above the left knee on the lower thigh. And then slide your left foot so that it is placed on the mat. And coming into reclined pigeon pose. And you can stay here. Both feet are flexed, actually. The one on your leg is more flexed. And then if you'd like a little bit more stretch, you can interlace your fingers behind your left thigh and guide your left leg toward your chest. Now both feet are flexed. And just breathe in and out. Nice deep breaths through your nose. And then place your left foot on the mat and slide your left foot down to the end of the mat. Back to the figure 4. Your right ankle still on top of your left leg. And then we're going to bring our right knee over to the left side of the mat. So it's going to be a single leg twist. You can guide that right knee with your left hand over to the left. Shoulders are in contact with the mat. Gaze is straight up. Nice deep breaths here. Then inhale, bring both knees back to your chest. Give them a nice hug. And this time we're going to make some circles with our toes. Nice big full moon, which has been going on. Last night or tonight is the full moon. Draw a nice big full moon. And if you'd like to reverse the direction, give your lower back that nice massage that it's creating. And then we'll send both legs again back down to the mat. Back to reclined mountain pose. We'll take the sole of our left foot and slide it along the inner part of our right leg up to our knee to the point where our legs are forming the figure 4. And then send your left ankle on top of your right leg just above the knee. And then slide your right foot up so that it's in the foot, sole of the foot's in contact with the mat. And you can stay here in this reclined pigeon. Or if you'd like a little bit more stretch, you can interlace your fingers behind your right thigh. And just leave it there, flexing both feet. Or guide that right leg closer toward your chest. Take some nice deep breaths here. Breathe into any tension you may feel. Tension's okay, pain's not okay, so just back away if there's pain. And then placing your right foot on the mat And slide that right foot down to the end of the mat, keeping our left ankle on our leg. And then we're going to make a nice rainbow effect with our left knee, sending all the way over to the right side of the mat. And guide it with your right hand down toward the mat, keeping your shoulders against the mat, nice and snug into the mat. And then bring both legs back to your chest, give them a nice hug, and we're going to roll up. So you can either roll over to the side and work your way up into tabletop, or you can roll on your spine, give your nice spine a nice roll and massage. Just kind of keep it on the mat for a while, and then when you're ready, roll it all the way up to a seated position, and then come up into tabletop. Tabletop, our hands are spread, our fingers are spread nice and wide with the index finger pointing to the top of the mat. Shoulders are right below or above the wrists. Our hips are right below, our hips are right above the knees. I'm kind of backwards this morning. And then navel's tucked to the spine. For cat and cows, we're going to roll our back, dropping our head and our pelvis down. And then inhale, lifting our head and our tailbone up. Exhale, rounding our back, cat, head and tailbone go down. Inhale, lifting our head and tailbone up. Exhale, rounding our back. Inhale, lifting our head and tailbone up. And just continue on for a few moments at your own pace with nice big inhales and nice big exhales. And then come back to a neutral spine, back to the tabletop. We're going to do some bird dogs, and we're going to bring our knees together underneath our hips. Feel an equal distribution of weight in our hands. Send our right leg up to hip height, and then send our left arm up to shoulder height. But we're going to bring our elbow and our knee together. So inhale and then exhale, bringing your knee and elbow together, opposite knee and opposite elbow together. Inhale, extend both out. Take a look at your left fingertips. And then exhale, bringing the knee and elbow together. Inhale, extend out, look at your left fingertips. And then exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, stretch out. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, stretch out. Inhale, or exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, stretch out. And one last time, exhale, knee to elbow, and put your knee and your hand back down on the mat. We'll do that on the other side. So find that equal distribution of weight in your hands. Then send your left leg up to hip height. Send your right hand out in front. Send your gaze to your right fingertips. So exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, gaze to fingertips. 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 And one last time, knee to elbow. And put your hand and your knees back down. And we're going to do what Oscar loves doing every morning is extended puppy. So we're going to bring our elbows to the mat and keep our hips where they are, and then just kind of crawl our hands out in front to the point where you get to a nice comfortable spot where you can bring your chest down toward the mat, forehead down to the mat. And then we're going to send our hips down toward our ankles as we slide our hands down the mat for extended child pose. And then back up to tabletop. Tuck our toes under. Walk our hands back, come into a squat position where we're on the balls of our toes, and then push down into your feet, come up to a mountain pose. And for mountain pose, we'll just do our essentials of good posture. So our big toes are facing the long edge of the mat. We're going to lift our toes up off the mat, spread them as far apart as we can. And then bring our toes back down to the mat, lifting our heels off the mat, coming up onto our tippy toes, and then bringing our heels back down to the mat, and really feeling that connection, that grounding, that stability that provides. Our legs are nice and straight and strong, with a gentle bend in our knees, navels tucked to the spine. Spine and the back of the neck are nice and straight and tall. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Our chin is tucked toward our chest slightly, with the crown of our head reaching up to the sky. And then we'll sweep our hands up and overhead. Big inhale and big exhale. Bring our hands down to the mat as we bend our knees fully. And just check in here for a moment. See how we are today. And then inhale, send your hands up to your shins, flattening out your back, sending your gaze straight down. Let's slide our hands all the way up to our thighs, and just sending our elbows up and back. And just really feel that nice stretch along our spine. And then send our hands back down. Crown of our head goes back down toward the mat. And then sweep our hands from the mat all the way up overhead, coming up onto our tippy toes, stretching up, reaching for the sky. And then we're going to bring our heels back down on the mat. Big exhale as we bring our hands back down. And then sweep our hands back up, coming back up on our tippy toes. Nice, slow, controlled movements. Exhale, slowly come down to lowering our heels onto the mat, lowering our hands beside our thighs, then sweeping our hands up, coming back up onto our tippy toes. Get a nice controlled movement. And then lowering our hands, lowering back down to the mat. And then keep your hands going down toward the mat, bending your knees as you go. And then bring your hands up to your shins, flattening out your back. And then send the crown of your head down toward the mat. And just let your head and your shoulders hang here, your arms relax. And sweep your hands from the mat all the way up overhead. Bring your palms together. And for supported side stretch, we'll bring our right hand down to our right thigh and slide that right hand down toward our knee, tipping over to the right. Nice crescent shape. And then inhale, bring both hands back together above our head. Then lowering our left hand down to our left thigh and sliding that down toward the knee. And then inhale back up. We'll do that one more time on each side. Bring your right hand to your right thigh. Right hand slides down toward your knee. Then inhale, come back up. And left hand comes down, sliding it down toward your knee. And then come back up. And then we'll bring our hands back down the mat, bending our knees as we go. Inhale, bring our hands to our shins, flattening out the back, elongating the spine and the back of the neck. And then dropping our head down toward the mat. Just let gravity relax everything for you. And then we're going to plant our left palm on the mat, bending our left knee toward our left arm, keeping our right legs as straight as possible, and then sweep our right hand all the way up to the sky, following that hand if you can with your eyes. Forward fold with a twist. And then bring your right hand back down. And we'll switch sides. So our right hand gets planted to the mat, bending your right knee toward your right arm. Left leg is as straight as is comfortable. And then we'll sweep our left hand all the way up, overhead, toward the sky, sending our gaze with it. And then bring that left hand back down. And then you'll sweep both hands all the way up overhead. Hands come together. Hands come to heart center. And hands come to the back of your hips for supported back bend. Feet about hip width apart. Navel's tucked to your spine. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. And your chin is tucked toward your chest. And then just let your shoulders drop back and send your gaze up above the trees, not straight up though. And find that sweet spot where you can still maintain an even flow of your breath. And then come back up to mountain pose. How's everyone doing? So you may have noticed earlier, we did not do a pranayama. And since today's subject is about joy, there is one of my favorite pranayamas called Breath of Joy. So we're going to do that. And I'll just show you one. I give you a demo of what it's like. So you're going to bend your knees, send your arms up to about shoulder height. Then send your arms out. And then back. And then up. straightening your legs, and then pushing your arms back for the exhale. So coming back to mountain, we're going to go inhale, bending our knees, sending our arms out front. Inhale, sending our arms out. Inhale, straightening our legs, reaching for the sky. And exhale, bending our knees for the exhale. So inhale, 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 exhale. Inhale, 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 exhale. Inhale, 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 exhale. Inhale, 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 exhale. One more time. Inhale, 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 exhale. Breath of joy. So you can now turn to the right side of your mat or left. Actually, we're going to do our poses today from the long side of the mat. So whichever one's comfortable for you. We're going to come into a wide-legged stance. Big toes pointing to the corners of the mat. Heels are tucked in 45 degrees. And they're going to sweep our hands up to a star shape. And then we're going to bend our knees and bend our elbows, coming into goddess. And we'll just stay there for a moment. And then we're going to push our hands as if we're actually pushing a heavy weight back up to the sky. Maybe pushing that full moon back up as we straighten back up to star. And then exhale, coming back to goddess. We'll stay here for a few moments. Few breaths. And then push again with our hands all the way up to star. And one last time, bending our knees and our elbows, come down. And just really feel connection, the connection with your feet to the mat, to the earth. Check in with your body. And then we're going to push that moon back up to the sky. And then we're going to bring our arms to shoulder height, lowering them. And then pivot both feet coming into warrior two. So our left foot's pointing to the short edge of the mat. Right foot, I'm going to kind of scooch into this position. Right foot, the back of the right edge of the foot is nice and snug in the mat. And just really feel that connection, pushing down and pushing toward the short ends of the mat. Sending our gaze to our left fingertips. Navel's tucked to the spine. So our spine is nice and tall and straight. We're going to drop our right arm down to our right thigh, lifting our left hand up to the sky, maintaining the bend in our knee, sending our gaze up to the fingertips. And then we're going to straighten our left knee and send that hand a little further back. And if you can not tip your head too far back, you can follow the gaze of your fingertips. But I would suggest just keeping your head so you're again looking at the tops of trees. And then keeping your legs straight, bringing your left hand down to shoulder height, lifting your right arm up to shoulder height. We're going to go into triangle pose. So reach forward with your left hand as if you're about to grab something off the shelf, and then send it down to your leg. Send it down to your ankle if possible. Send it down to the mat if that's possible. And our right arm straight up to the sky. And you can send your gaze up to your right hand. And then lifting your right hand up, coming back up. We're going to come back to warrior two. So bending our left leg, sending our gaze to our left fingertips. And then bring your left forearm down to the left thigh and sending our right hand straight up. We're going to then slip our left hand down to the mat if that's possible. You can keep it on your thigh or you can slide it down to the mat. Again, sending your gaze up to your hand. And then bring your right hand down to the mat, pivoting on your back foot. You're going to come into runner's lunge. With our right hand on the mat, we're going to sweep our left hand up to the sky. Runner's lunge with a twist. And then bring your left hand back down to the mat. Send your left foot to the back of the mat to join the right foot and come into plank pose. Your wrists are right below your shoulders. Navel's tucked to the spine. Heels are pushing to the back of the mat. And then you can lower to the mat either chaturanga or knees, chest, chin, keeping your elbows close to your ribs. And then we're going to have our fingers right below our shoulders, lifting our chest and chin up, and then pushing gently, coming into cobra. And then continue pushing up to tabletop and then down to child's pose. And then come back up to tabletop. Tuck our toes under and lift our hips up for downward dog and pedal out here for a moment or two. Our fingers are spread wide apart, index finger pointing up to the top of the mat. Arms are straight and strong. Gaze is then toward your belly button, bringing your chest toward your thighs, elevating your hip. Then we're going to bring our left knee up and plant it right behind our left wrist on the mat. We'll send our left foot over to the long side of the mat and then slide our right leg down, coming into pigeon pose. So your hips should be parallel with the mat. And if you are able to, you can bring your left foot a little bit more up along the long edge of the mat. Then we're going to walk our hands back, come into proud pigeon. So we have a little bit of an arch in our back. And then walk our hands down. And you can come down to your elbows or lower your forehead onto the mat, whatever is comfortable for you. Recline pigeon. And then lift back up. Walk our hands back so that they're under the shoulders. Tuck our right toes under and bring our left leg back to downward dog. Come into downward dog and pedal out here for a moment. And then slowly walk your feet, taking little baby steps up to your hands, coming into a forward fold. And then raise your hands from the mat all the way up overhead. Palms come together, palms come to heart center. And we'll do that all over again for the other side, starting with the breath of joy. So just stand with your feet about hip width apart. We're going to lift our arms up, bending our knees, send them out to the sides, lift them up to the sky, and exhale. Inhale, 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 exhale. Inhale, 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 exhale. Inhale, 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 exhale. Inhale, 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 exhale. One last time. Inhale, 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 exhale. And then we're going to come back to that wide-legged stance. We'll work the other side. So whichever side of the mat works for you. And our toes are pointing to the corners of the mat. Heels are tucked in about 45 degrees. We'll bring our arms up into the star position. And just check in, make sure that navel's tucked into your spine. You're nice and your spine and back of your neck's nice and straight and long. And then bend our knees and elbows, coming into goddess. And then just check out here for a moment. See, perhaps on this round, if you get a little bit lower. But keeping that nice alignment where your spine is vertical. And then we're going to push that moon back up to the sky with all our strength, coming back up to star. And then lowering, bending at the knees and elbows, coming into goddess. And then again, push, 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 push all the way up. And then one last time, coming back down into goddess. Spine is nice and straight and vertical. And then again, push with all your might, pushing that moon back up to the sky. And then we're going to lower our hands so our arms are at shoulder height. Pivot our feet to the other direction. So our right leg is at the short end of the mat. And we're going to come into warrior two. So scooch yourself into a nice comfortable warrior two. Knees over your ankle. Back legs nice, straight and strong. Back edge of your foot snug in the mat. Then once you're there, kind of push down to really connect, lock in your feet, pushing them toward the short ends of the mat. Navel's tucked to the spine. And slowly send your gaze to your right fingertips. And then lowering your left hand to your left thigh, keeping your knee bent in the front. We're going to raise our right hand up to the sky, keeping our gaze on our fingertips, that drishti. And then keeping our gaze just where it is, we're going to straighten our front leg and send our hand back further. And then lower our right hand down to shoulder height, raising our left arm to shoulder height. We're going to come into triangle pose. So we're just reach out to take something off the shelf and drop our hand down to our leg, sending our left hand up to the sky. And if you can, bring your right hand down to your ankle or block or to the mat. And then lift with your left hand up, coming back to warrior two with your front knee bent. Sending your gaze to your to your right fingertips. And then bring your right forearm to your right thigh. We'll send our left hand straight up to the sky and send your gaze up there. And you could stay here, or if you like, you could slide your right hand down to the mat. And then bring your left hand down to the mat. Pivot on your back foot. Coming into runner's lunge. You can place your left hand down on the mat, sweeping your right hand up to the sky, following it with your eyes. Runner's lunge with a twist. And then bring your right hand back down to the mat. Bring your right toes to join your left toes, coming into plank pose. Wrists are right above your shoulder, below your shoulders. Navel's tucked to the spine. Heels are sent back. And then lower to the mat, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Keeping your fingertips below the shoulders. We're going to lift our chin and chest up, and then gently press, keeping your elbows tucked to the side, come up into cobra. And then push, continue to tabletop, and then lower your hips down to extended child's pose. And then come back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under and lift your hips up to downward dog. And walk out your dog for a little bit. Hips are up toward the sky, bringing your chest toward your thighs. And then we're going to bring our right knee and plant it on the mat right behind our right wrist, sending our right foot over to the long side of the mat. And it's diagonal. For me, it could be straight for you, straight back. If that's more comfortable, you can kind of have your foot in what I would say is like a 6 o'clock position, or bring it, if you can, all the way up to a 9 o'clock position, or somewhere in between. Probably at a 7 o'clock position. And then slide your left foot down as you lower your left leg. Left knee makes contact with the mat. And then we'll walk our hands back, come into that proud pigeon pose. Nice little arch in our back. And then walk our hands forward, coming onto our elbows, or coming all the way down, lowering our forehead to the mat. And then coming back up, lifting back up, we're gonna tuck our back toes under and then bring our right leg back and come back to downward dog. And pedal out here for a little bit. And then Bring your knees down to the mat. And you could swing your legs out to the side, and we're going to come into a seated position, into staff pose. So if you want, if that helps you with your seated position, to have a little towel or blanket behind under your sit bones, that's great. Staff pose, otherwise you can make little fists and push down into the mat, bring our sit bones down. Feet are flexed, spine is nice and straight and strong. And we're going to do some seated forward folds. And I encourage you to do this one of a couple ways. You can, we'll start with bringing our right foot up to our inner left thigh. And you can set your fingers alongside your left leg and just kind of walk your fingers down toward your foot. And on the inhale, you gain length, and on the exhale, you tend to lower your body toward your knee. So try to inhale, walk your fingers, and exhale, lower your torso down toward your knee. That's a little bit too much of a strain. You can bend your left knee, wrap your hands around your left foot, and then slide, it's kind of hard on the mat, but slide your left heel down to a point where it's comfortable for you. And it might be that you can bring your leg all the way down, perhaps not. And then just kind of send your gaze toward your kneecap. And just get, as far down as is comfortable for you. So one of two ways. And then walk your hands back. And we'll do that on the other side. So bring your left sole of your foot to your right inner thigh. And again, you can walk your hand, fingertips down. Or bend your right leg, wrap your hands around it, and slide your heel down to a comfortable spot. The idea, keep your drishti being your eyes on your knee. And then walk your hands back. And we'll do a forward fold with both legs stretched out. And again, you can bend both legs. Start with wrapping your hands around your feet and kind of maybe walk those heels out, coming down to a forward fold. Or walk your fingers alongside your legs. And then walk your hands back. We're going to roll down, so you can use express method or one vertebrae at a time, whichever you choose. I'm going to do express method because that's going to feel good. And then we're going to send our arms out to either side, or two sides at shoulder height. Knees to the chest. And we're going to exhale, dropping our knees to the right side for a reclined twist. And gently turn your head to the left and look at your left fingertips. And slowly inhale, turn your head back to center. And then inhale, lifting your knees back to center. And slowly exhale, lowering your knees to the left side of the mat. And then slowly turning your head to look at your right fingertips. And slowly turn your head back to center. Then inhale, lift your legs back to center. And then send your feet down to the bottom of the mat and prepare for Shavasana. Send your feet out to the corners of the mat and just let them relax and flop open. Maybe take some deep inhales. And on the exhales, just consciously lower yourself back down into the mat. It's like you're lowering down into a cloud. Arms are away from your torso with the palms facing up to allow your shoulder blades to get nice and flat and snug into the mat. Deep inhale and really deep exhale, relaxing every bone and muscle of your body into that cloud. Placing a gentle smile on your face. Let that smile radiate throughout your body. I have a poem this morning by Dana Falls titled Joy for No Reason. I am filled with quiet joy for no reason, save the fact that I'm alive. The message I received is clear. There's no time to lose from loving, no place but here to offer kindness, no day but this to be my true, unfettered self and pass the flame from heart to heart. This is the only moment that exists, so simple, so exquisite, and so real.